All right.
So here is Narrative Dynamics actual play of Duel at Buckthorn. We're going to go through the kind of pitch, the situation. We're going to talk about how the game is going to proceed and be resolved, and then we'll dive into character creation and get started. The general concept is this is a game set way before the events of Rebel Crown. Same kingdom, but before the Unict Empire was founded. The dead rest peacefully in their graves, and their spirits are guided by the god of paths into the next world. There was a minor spar between two neighboring provinces last summer, and there's been a cold and hungry winter. So people think that this is a bad year, not knowing just how bad things will get in their lifetime or the next. On this cold spring morning, Lord Lygadin, who's lord of a small province, was going to host a modest tournament to celebrate the wedding of his daughter, just outside the prosperous town of Buckthorn. His daughter is marrying into House Hedden, marrying the heir. And so all the nobility of both houses and kind of those people most loyal to Lygadin have gathered here to see the ceremony, but also to watch the jousts and eat and drink and take some reprieve from their normal duties. Mid-morning, Lord Lygadin interrupts these mundane proceedings with a shocking declaration. He's accused his vassal, House Saren, of neglecting their duties to their liege, and he announces that he plans to strip them of their rule of Buckthorn. So House Saren is a vassal of his, has been for many generations, and they rule Buckthorn and get most of their income from the town, and they are losing the vast majority of their holdings. Lygadin is going to allow them to retain a small keep and support their greatly diminished household in perpetuity. So we'll kind of keep them on more as captives than as vassals, but with minor trappings of nobility, letting them keep their name and sigil. Lady Saren is appalled. She knew that she had offered less than what was expected of her in taxes, but there's been a lot of corruption in her ranks, and the taxes are simply not making it to her court. There's been great unrest in her provinces, and she's been seeing to the defenses. So in last fall's war, when Lord Lygadin asked her to muster troops, she knew that she sent not enough, much fewer than that were asked for, but she thought that these were justified. And she expected some act of censure, a reprimand, maybe having to apologize or find a way to make good with Lord Lygadin, but to lose everything was totally unexpected. And in this province, fairly unprecedented. This is definitely a pretty blatant power grab from Lygadin, no matter his justification. Lygadin's trap was well set here. It's a wedding of his daughter, so if Lady Saren demanded a tribal, her peers, the people who could attend, are all the closest allies of Lygadin. The court would be set against her. And the wedding guests were selected at this very end, even more than friends of his daughter or his daughter's fiance. These are Lygadin's friends and allies that have attended. Lady Saren's not going to revolt for the same reason. Lygadin's armies outnumber her on the best day, and here she brought only a minor formal guard against his mustered armies to show his strength and grandeur. What Lygadin wasn't ready for is how Lady Saren responded. She demanded a trial by combat. With the wedding tonight, the attending guests agreed that the matter must be settled immediately. Each house must present a champion at noon to fight until one side yields or dies, and the winning side will claim full rights to Buckthorn and the surrounding lands. Eric and I are going to play these two champions, one for Saren, one for Lygadin, and we might have our own reasons for joining this fight, for offering to stand as champions for either of these causes. But we know no matter what happens, it's going to determine the future of this province for generations. So our first choice is choosing what side we want to be and what champion we want to play as. And you can kind of do this on either level. If there's a side that you're really interested in fighting for, you think Lygadin's in the right, or he's in the wrong, but you find that compelling, or you want to play for Saren, that's a good way to do it, and then choose a champion. Or if there's a champion who really stands out to you, and you just want to pick them by name, Eric, you can grab whoever you want, and then I'll grab someone from the other side.
Okay. Let's see. I really like House Afanc as the beaver.
Mm-hmm.
And the character from Rebel Crown I thought was really, really sweet, but I don't like Lagadin's plan here. So let's see.
The sigil you made for Afanc, this like slightly like menacing looking beaver, is one of my favorite sigils for sure. I really like it.
Yeah, I guess that's what they thought of our industrious beaver back then. Back then
before the dead became restless.
The cool thing to think about is the different weapons that the different characters use. That kind of adds to their mystique and appearance.
Yeah, totally. Like aesthetically, and they have different weapon actions that are going to influence the duel. Because like I think there's a lot of different things you could be drawn to.
Okay, I kind of like this guy. I like Owen Baugh. For House Saren. He just sounds like a real MF. Owen Baugh, Sigil None, is a former soldier and alleged knight who fought for House Carrig. He now makes a living robbing Lady Saren's tax collectors. He came to the tournament to join the melee in a suit of stolen plate. He would gladly don that same armor as Saren's champion if it meant a seat at her table and castle roof over his head. He's got a mace, a shield, and a dagger. So he's just a bruiser. All right, I think that's going to be me.
Wow. So I think this presents an interesting choice for me. So I do think Owen Baugh is pretty cool. Definitely, his motives are clear, and it'd be interesting for me to take someone who's a counterpoint, and I can think of two good examples. I think Tomos Afanc would be cool because he seems like they almost want the same thing from different contexts. So Tomos is a squire for Lord Law and Sir Law, a knight, and he is also like, this is his shot at getting legitimacy of being knighted, but he's like probably a little more idealistic, and that's an interesting counterpoint. There's also Rodri Lygadin, who has very little to gain from this. He's just the son of Lord Lygadin, and so he's going to fight rather out of opportunity than he's going to fight out of duty. I think Tomos Afanc is more interesting. So that's who I think I'm going to take. I'm going to be Tomos Afanc, Sigil Beaver. I'll read out his whole thing. Tomos Afanc, Sigil Beaver, was a squire for Sir Law until this morning. The renowned knight died from training injury, and his body is not quite in the ground. Tomos will plead for the right to represent Lord Lygadin in the trial, knowing it is now his surest path to knighthood. Tomos is untested but swift, and all his hopes rest on this. He has a sword, shield, and dagger.
Yeah, I like his motivation. It sounds kind of almost like desperate. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine he's like so far from the line of succession of anything that Afanc holds. Like he's like a second cousin to any lords of the House of Afanc, and so I think he's like he's getting this, or he's going to have to like live in his older brother's basement for the rest of his life, like,
Yep.
tending to his horses or something. Cool. So we have our champions. The way that this is going to run is we're going to set the stakes of the duel, which is that it will end when one of us yields or dies. Both is either is a legitimate ending. And death could be unforeseen. You could think you have another round in you and die somewhat unexpectedly. We're gonna go back and forth, kind of scripting actions from a die pool. And then when we have resolved the duel, the end conditions have met, we will kind of talk about what this means for the province. So the first stakes question, besides when it will end, which is when one of us yields or dies, is what does your character hope to gain if they win? What do you think Owen hopes to gain if he wins this?
Okay. Well, in his description, it says that he's glad to do this if it means like a seat at Lady Saren's table, and a castle roof over his head. So he's trying to get, or I can go first person. I'm trying to get. I'm just trying to get in. I'm just trying to show that like I'm a total badass, and I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stick up for you. You're the boss, and it's sort of like when Bronn in Game of Thrones kind of goes from just being a sellsword to being a little bit more official, but his motivations are still just money and security. So yeah, and I'm thinking he doesn't really care who it's for. Like, so he's less about like the overall like ideal, like in the cause, and more about like, all right, I think I can do this. I think I can take out this young squire, and I totally have this in the bag.
Yeah, I think what Tomos hopes to gain here is knighthood, right? Like he thinks he will be knighted by Lord Lygadin if he wins this, and that seems likely enough. He's noble born, right? And so it's not impossible he would be knighted down the line. I think he has a little bit, I think he feels stuck. I think he knows with Sir Law dead, Sir Law was probably a prestigious knight in Lord Lygadin's service. He knows he's going to end up squiring for one of his brothers or one of his cousins, and like who knows when they're going to like deign to knight him. Like
and he'll always just be like that old, he's going to become that old squire that everyone laughs at.
Yeah. Like I think he sees the ladder of power in House Afanc, and he knows he's near the bottom and sees no way up it. And he's not going to do some kind of nefarious politicking to become more influential in this house. I think he sees this as it. And so I think it's knighthood, but also like some respect in his house.
Yeah. Yeah, because like when you're a squire, it's kind of implies that you're on a certain track. So he's kind of like, let's, I hope this leads where I think it is.
Yeah.
Who was Sir Law? Who was he? What house was he from?
I think he was probably like a knighted on the battlefield kind of guy. Like he is maybe the only member of House Law, but he was a member
House,
of
House Afanc.
Sir Law.
Yeah.
No, Sir Law wasn't from House Afanc. He was
okay.
Lord Lygadin's guard. And so I think Tomos Afanc like left his house thinking there was not a lot of opportunity and started working for this kind of knight errant, this traveling knight Sir Law, who had a good reputation and was kind of in with Lygadin, and he saw this as a way to like see a little bit of the world and move up somewhere, and thought that his loyalty to Sir Law was going to be his like ticket in life, and that's clearly not the case now. Just like one bad accident changing things. So I think the next question is what the characters risk losing if they yield, and I think I think that's it. Like, I think he thinks he'll be stuck. Like, as you said, in Old Squire, I think he just is going to be stuck in the same fate. What do you think Owen Baugh risks losing if he yields?
I hate to say it, but I feel like, well, I mean, he's probably gonna risk, the possibility of working for Lady Saren anymore, because he failed her, and he's just sort of like a sellsword. It doesn't say that here, but I'm kind of like taking that, a former soldier and alleged knight. So he's just kind of like, he just kind of shows up in some armor, and he's got his weapons, and he's like, all right, let's go. But I think that Owen himself doesn't. It's like it's just another job to him. And if you fail, if he yields, that's fine. No big deal. He'll just he'll just go a province over. There's no social media, so nobody knows what it looks like. So he's, he's just, he'll just be in the breeze and, over to the next place. So I think that I don't know, I think he's probably a bit full of himself, and doesn't think he's going to lose, and B, if he does, no big deal.
Yeah, this is not his only shot, right?
Right.
He's probably Owen. Probably unlike Thomas, I imagine Owen has lost a fight before, on some scale, and knows you can,
Oh yeah,
you can provide some scars.
I picture him with like a broken, like a flat broken nose, a scar, like a couple scars on his face, just a gnarly looking guy who just fights is his whole life. So yeah, but loves it at the same time.
Yeah, I would believe that Thomas has never fought before in any capacity. Like, I think he's sparred, but this is gonna be his first time blood is shed.
So I think Owen doesn't totally take it seriously, but he would definitely rather win the fight, so he can get this, like, kind of, this in with Lady Saren, a seat at her table, and a castle roof over his head. So he would rather have that. So yeah, so I'm not it's not to say that he just totally doesn't give a shit, and he definitely wants to win. Yeah.
Okay, so next is die pools. We're gonna figure out how many dice we have. We have 1 to 4 dice, depending on these kind of prompts, and these are intentionally fairly open interpretation. I'm sure about 2 of them for Thomas, and I probably want to talk to you the last one. Thomas gets 1 die. He's going to get a second because he has been formally trained in the art of dueling. I think Sir Law was pretty diligent in his training. Thomas has got his training and little else. I'm sure that he has not fought with lethal stakes before, so he's not going to get that one. Here's a question. Does Thomas truly believe in the cause he represents? I kind of think no. I think he thinks that this is a power grab by Laghanan. I think he really wants to win because he wants to be united, but I don't think that this is his cause.
Okay.
Does that ring true? Does that sound right?
I think so. Yeah. He's not a bad guy, and he's not like, it's not, I wouldn't think it's this, I don't think it's like a selfish reason, but he's just trying to bring himself up. And this is a good opportunity to try to do it. So yeah, I don't think he believes in the overall thing. Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. And that gives Thomas 2 dice.
Okay. Yeah, I like this part because it's kind of sort of subjective based on what you're reading there, and you can kind of talk it over based on the stuff that we've talked about for the last couple of steps. I like this part a lot. All right, so I guess I'll do mine. So I start with 1 die. Okay, 1 die if I'm formally trained in the art of dueling. I don't think so. He just sounds kind of like a thug. If you have fought with lethal stakes before, I would say so. Former soldier, an alleged knight who fought for House Carrig. So that sounds like a big deal. Sounds like he's seen some real action. So I get that. And then +1 die if you truly believe in the cause you represent. No, hell no. Nope. Nope, not, and it's different from the way that you don't care about it. It's like, I'm just like, nah, that's fine, win, lose, it's not my house.
Mhm.
So yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I have 2 dice as well.
Nice. I think we're on the we're not the best duelists out there. It's
Right,
good that
yeah.
neither of us is up against someone really in it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the rest of everyone else is like, okay, these guys.
So we got our 6 section clock, our health clock for each duelist. It is going to, one of us, when that clock is filled, we will die. It can happen that you kill each other simultaneously. The whole turn resolves. So we could both fall on our swords. We could also, based on the time of the yields, you don't always know, you don't always have time to yield before that final blow falls. You got to kind of make that judgment call. The next thing to do is any special abilities. And special abilities are just about comparison. So we like compare our, again, this is kind of subjective. Think about what our to read is, our interpretation of these characters.
Mhm.
And if there's a clear advantage on one side or the other, we grant the special ability. If not, then nobody gets it.
Okay.
So the first one is whoever is faster may choose their move after the opponent has announced theirs. I think this is the one that Thomas has.
Yeah.
Thomas is untested but swift, and all his hopes rest on this.
Yep. And I'm definitely like just a smasher.
Okay, so I'm marking fast. You'll choose your move first, and then I'll be able to respond. Give me a nice edge. What's the second one here?
Second one is armored. Ignore 1 instance of harm. I know that I'm definitely armored. Got some stolen plate, some stinky old armor.
Whoever is better armored, it says.
Okay. I feel like if Thomas does, he might have like the chainmail underneath the tunic kind of thing as a squire, but I feel like Owen is probably more like better armored.
Sure, you've got a full suit of plate, right? Even though it's not yours. Yeah, nab it.
Okay. I picture it maybe, kind of cobbled together from a few different, people that he found or killed. Okay, yeah. So next one, hardy. Start with 8 health rather than 6.
And the comparison here is whoever is hardier. Yeah. This one, I'm not sure that either of us. I mean, so there's 2 interpretations here, right? I think there's the read by which neither of us have it is that Thomas is probably like eats a lot better and lives a lot better. But if it's about like being tough and grizzled, I think Owen has it. I think I could go either way on this. I don't think there's a way in which I see Thomas being clearly hardier than Owen.
I mean, I feel like, I think if I were to take hardy, which I think Owen is, if hardy we're talking about, like grizzled, like you were saying, like just, tough, he sleeps outside a lot, I'm sure. Yeah, I think I'm probably hardy, but I think the next one would go to Thomas.
Yeah, I think I agree with both those. The thing I'm thinking about hardy too is probably Thomas is going to flinch a lot harder if he takes a blow. So you take hardy, and the last one is whoever has the stronger resolve. I do think that's Thomas. I think he wants it more.
Yeah, you have a much clearer idea of what's going on and like what's at stake. Where Owen is just, he's like, all right, who am I fighting? All right, let's go. Yeah, okay.
Cool. This is nice. We're going to be, I think, fairly evenly matched with the same dice count and the same number of special abilities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can imagine it would be rough if one person kind of sweeps the special abilities.
I agree with that, and I think I've done a couple where somebody's a real underdog, and it's like exciting for them to even you can do okay and then yield, right? If you're just in it to not embarrass yourself.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so this is because anybody's duel, as they say. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose. We mark our first stance. I really like the token system for stances, so I'm going to get a little token, put it on my steady. We both begin this duel steady. Some moves will worsen your stance. You can move down to off balance and then down. Some will improve your stance, so you can go from downed to off balance back to steady. We start off steady. We both roll our die pool, our 2 dice. And each round, we're going to choose one of those results to resolve, and we're going to leave the other as is. So after each round, you only re-roll the die you used, so you can kind of plan ahead a little bit, because you'll be able to see the die you have for next round. So we're rolling our 2d6, and we typically would reveal with. By default, we reveal simultaneously, but because Thomas is faster, Owen has to reveal his die result first, and then Thomas can respond. We'll still.
Okay, so if we were playing this like at a table together, when we roll our dice, do we keep them separate from the other person?
Yeah, you keep them hidden. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can get like a little dice shield, or you can like keep the rule book folded up in front of yourself. Lots of different ways to do it.
Or actually, the way that I laid out the zine, the sheets are in the very middle of the book. So if you have it open between us, you can kind of put them under the page.
Oh yeah, I love that.
We'll see if it really works. But okay, so our dice are kept secret from each other until they're revealed.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're gonna tell me the result first. You're gonna tell me what you pick, and then I will. And then we resolve moves in this order. We resolve any harm first, then determine if the duel met its stakes. And then if it did, then it ends. Otherwise, we resolve any moves that worsen stance, like a bash, and then resolve any moves that improve stance.
Okay. And we do know what each other's beginning stance. Oh, it's probably going to be steady, right? I mean, let's face it, we're not going to be like willingly off balance or downed.
Right. Yes, we know each other's stance, and so you're both duelists begin the fight steady.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What is Owen's first move here?
Okay, let me look at my dice. I'm actually hiding them from you as if you could actually see my dice. So
I'm testing the zine setup too. Actually, I've got a little screen here.
Yeah, I've noticed that my little my token is kind of sliding a little bit when I move the page. So maybe that's a design flaw. Okay, so all right, so I've got a this and a that. Now this is fun because this brings in the narrative part of it. I'd imagine like the story, the backstories that we've created, kind of give us, a picture of each other's character and how they might be standing there in the beginning of the fight. So I picture Thomas as kind of like, kind of hopped up, but sort of like very serious looking and just kind of like ready to go.
I think also I'm picturing Thomas a lot smaller than Owen.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I think if you're up in the higher stands of the tournament here, like the sun is like blaring down on us and you just see these two fighters at a distance, you see one like grizzled in full kind of like maybe even rust pitted plate. And then you see this like lean fighter. I bet you're right. He's got chain, right? He doesn't have the money for plate and he didn't have the time to like, to loan against his prospective future knighthood. So he's small and light on his feet. And I think try to like you're hopped up, but also like probably actually hopping, like trying to move out move you, knowing that your mass is a lot greater.
Yeah. So that kind of almost informed what my first thing is, but it's actually okay. Yeah. So all right. No, it did. Okay, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I am going to our old one of my dice is a 1, so I'm going to block 1 harm. I kind of see that you're like raring to go, and I'm just kind of like, look at this little puppy dog. I'm just going to like stand here for a second and see what he does.
Awesome. I think Thomas doesn't have the patience to like circle around you, and make like the right stancing moves. I think he like moves in quick and with surprising force, because he like almost springs forward, cuts into your side with a crushing blow. And Oof. The shield that like mostly dings off the shield, but the force of it I think is a little more than you might anticipate from one so small.
All right, block. Okay, block requires a shield, which I luckily do have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So a crushing blow would deal 2 harm to you, but you were going to reduce that by 1.
Okay. So I'm going to take one ouchie, and it worsens my stance.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, that was surprising. Maybe I don't have this one in the bag.
And now, if you so choose, you can re-roll both die. So normally, you re-roll a single die, but just the one you use. But a block, and then later a hesitate if you're off balance or downed, lets you re-roll your whole pool. So it can be like biding your time and getting better positioning, giving yourself more options. So okay. That's up to you if you want to roll one or both.
I'm going to keep the one that I didn't roll, and I'm going to re-roll the other one.
Does Owen say anything to Thomas in these early exchanges?
No, I don't think he does. I thought maybe he would. Maybe he'd have like a wisecrack or something, but I don't think so. But he's definitely got like he had a smirk, like a smirk on his face, like an entertained look. And now he still has the smirk, but it's just kind of covering up the oh shit, what just happened feelings that he's going through. Okay.
So now it is the end of a round. We resolve whether any duelists yield.
Okay. I definitely don't.
Yeah, Thomas doesn't either. And you could swap your weapons. Your mace is really good on a crushing blow. Good to note. I think the only reason we would swap weapons is we both have a dagger as a second weapon, sidearm, and it is very effective against a downed opponent. So that's when you're most likely to swap, given our current kit. Is you might drop your mace and grab your dagger when I'm down.
Yeah, when you're going in close.
Yeah, finish me off. Okay, so given that we don't yield and we don't swap weapons, we script our next actions.
Oh, I didn't see this. I should have re-rolled my other die. That's okay.
I think that's fine.
No, actually, I mean, but because we're only using 1 per round, right?
Yep, you only use 1 die per round, and then you roll the one you resolve the one you rolled.
Actually, no, because then it's just sitting there. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm off balance, and I'm using a 6. I got a clean strike.
Deal
2 harm. My mace doesn't do anything extra for that. It's just a good solid hit.
What does a clean strike from Owen look like?
It's just like a nice solid hit to somewhere that is either lightly armored or not armored, and just somewhere where you didn't where you weren't expecting. Um, I think maybe I take that hit, and then in like that's maybe you kind of hop one way or another, and knowing how a mace works, I just use my momentum to just sort of like swing it right where you're going to be, right place, right time. So yeah, I feel like I kind of like just bean you maybe like right in the ribs.
Ooh, yeah.
Um, and well, like a clean strike. I don't know if that's more of a crushing blow.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, maybe kind of like hit you right in the ribs, kind of like knock the wind out of you a little bit.
I think Thomas staggers back and then like comes down hard, trying to like wipe you in the helm with a crushing blow from his sword.
Okay.
And a great first roll, honestly. You are armored. This could be a moment to use it if you want to, because it ignores one instance of harm.
So you've got a crushing blow.
Mm-hmm.
And you were steady, right? So you do deal 2 harm, and it's going to worsen my stance, right? If I use my armor, will it negate the stance worsening?
It won't. It will just remove the 2 harm.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
you totally rigged this game. So sword, just a offside question. Balanced, what does that mean?
No advantages, no disadvantages.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's gonna.
Okay, it's just okay. Okay, so that's gonna be 2 harm. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm gonna use my armor. Yeah, so you said you kind of come down on my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you hit my helmet, and it just kind of knocks it off. It's just mashed. I wouldn't be able to keep it on after that blow. So that was a close one. But now I'm downed.
Yeah, you're down, which is great, but you still have so much health left. and I have no way to avoid the harm. So I think that clean strike just goes right into Thomas's ribs.
Right.
So that's 2 of his 6 health.
Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm hardy. Yep. It was like, come at me, bro. Okay, so I used that one. And I still have a typo on my sheet. There's 2 4s in the downed section.
Oh yeah. Okay, 4 and then 5. Good to know.
But are they both gain your footing?
They are both gain your footing. That's accurate. Yeah. When you're down, that's more of your priority, right? It's harder to deal damage, but easier to improve your positioning.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. So, we re-roll, right?
Yep. We re-roll. And then this, I think, Thomas, like there's a little, he tries to sound commanding, but there's actually a little like wheeze in his breath. And he says, like, it would be honorable for you to yield. He I think is trying to sound certain of this, but there is that that real hesitation in his voice.
Yeah, so Owen, I use the 5 that's been sitting there since the beginning to gain my footing. And I sternly...
This is the next round?
Yeah, isn't it?
I assume, yeah. I am going to swap my weapon before we go into the next round. So after each round, we roll out of dice. Done. We can swap our weapons. I'm going to grab a dagger and just drop my sword. And then Thomas was asking for you to yield. Totally reasonable for Owen to completely ignore him.
Right. Yeah. And that kind of goes into my standing up.
All right, go for it.
And I gruffly say, oh, I'm just getting started.
Yeah. Cool. What is he gonna do? I'm still steady. Um, I'm going to use my resolute to reroll all dice. So I'm going to reroll my dice. Perfect. He has another crushing blow.
Ooh,
Resolute
shoot.
is used. Yeah. So I think what that looks like with a dagger is like he gets in really close and is like trying to jam it, like mostly with the force of his body. And like the plates of your armor have you so well covered, but he's just trying to use the force to like get between the plates of your arm and your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the sequence. First, we resolve harm. So this is a 3 harm because it's 2 harm plus 1 for a dagger.
Ouch.
Yeah. And then the good news is to keep anyone from getting stuck down, you resolve a worsening of position and then an improvement of position. So you still do go from downed to off balance.
Okay.
So I got the advantage of my dagger for that turn. But yeah, it goes harm and then any moves that worsen stance. An opponent that's already down takes 1 harm. So you have to take 1 additional harm, but then you go to off balance. So that was a brutal dagger blow.
Okay, so the 2 and then 1 more.
So 2 for a crushing blow, 1 more the advantage from the dagger, and then 1 more because you were already downed and he had resolved an effect that would worsen your stance.
Oh man, I should have saved my armor for this.
Yeah, that was unexpected. So I think you're at 5 out of 8.
Golly. Okay.
You're back on your feet. And he has Owen's down to, or rather Thomas is down to his dagger and his shield, but he's not going to get the dagger's advantage until you're down again.
So can you pick up your sword again? Did you did you drop it or did you like sheath it, or like how does that something like that work?
I think you could. You can swap and swap back. I might say as we're playing, I'll wait for a moment that fictionally makes sense, because I think there is a bit of time between rounds. You're like circling each other and you have time to like have verbal exchanges.
Right.
But I think Thomas is going to keep his dagger for now.
Okay, yeah, he he got my blood all over it, so he's probably feeling super excited. Okay.
So we finished the resolution. So after each round, we reroll the dice we used. Rerolling my die. Okay. Duelists may swap weapons. I'm sticking with my dagger. We note our current stance. I'm still steady. Owen is off balance. And duelists could yield, though I don't think Thomas makes any more threats now. He sees you get to your feet after a blow that he would have for sure yielded on. And I think he's a little shaken by that.
Okay, so you're not yielding.
Not yielding and not demanding that you yield.
Right. I think, oh, man, I'm like, I only have 2 health left. I'm hurting. Oh,
I think you have 3, right?
All right, so I took 2 from that first crushing blow.
But you blocked it, so it goes down to 1.
Oh, yes, you're right.
And then you were armored, and then we just 4. So I think you've got 3 health left.
Okay, yeah, I do have 3. All right, that's a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, like he might be thinking, all right, yeah, I don't need to die like this to this punk. Maybe I should yield. But he's pissed. He's like, this little bastard. Like, all right, one more. Like, one more and we'll see. One more and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so 2 blocking.
That is excellent news because Thomas is
excellent news for who?
For Thomas. He was worried. He is going to also block.
Okay.
I think he's going to circle around you, shield up. I think he will take this moment to try to grab his sword again.
Okay.
So we can reroll. I'm rerolling both mine with the block effect.
Yep, me too.
We can swap weapons. Thomas is going to go back to his sword.
Ooh, this is not good.
I'm steady and you're off balance.
Yep.
What's Owen thinking right now?
He's like, okay, all right. He's got his sword, got a shield. I've been on the field with people who really want to kill me. So we'll see. I know how to manage this position. Or so his anger tells him.
I think this is now the point that the crowd is starting to like really hone in and pay attention. I think I think maybe they expected Owen to like smack this kid and then get a quick yield.
Yeah.
Because neither of these people really want to die for it. But I think this has gotten good for a spectator. And there's like some jeering and like some chants of like bah 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 bah.
Yeah.
And then like a few like his cousins, his like kind of jerk cousins are calling out for House of Afanc. Yeah, people are honed in now.
All right.
Break my camera focus.
All right, cool. So I rolled not great. Both bad choices. Got a glancing blow on a mace, does -1 harm. So I do nothing to you. I swing, and you have a shield, right?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, I just barely like clip your shield.
All right. Bad news for Owen here. I rolled another crushing blow with my armor. The block reroll really worked for me. And so I think it's probably a parry technique that Sir Law taught him. He was like hoping you were going to hit him on the shield because he actually doesn't know how to improvise very well in a fight, but he knows like if somebody strikes your shield, you like batter it away and then do an advancing step. And so I think he gives you like
that's like a karate, like a kata, sort of like, just these combo moves that you practice over and over again.
Yeah. And so you stepped into something he's drilled. He doesn't know how to fight, but he's drilled a lot.
Yep. And got lucky on my on my wide swing.
And so I think he steps inside your guard. It hits you hard with the sword. So you're going to get 2 damage, and you're going to get downed again.
Oof, man. All right. All right, I'm down. So I picture that I'm not like down, like prone, or like on my back. I'm kind of like down, sort of like kind of like on one knee and like propping myself up with the other hand. And yeah. Does Thomas say anything?
I think Thomas, I think he hesitates first. Like I think you look up and his eyes are almost like pleading for this to be over. He is tired and he made a good strike, but he doesn't want this to go any further. And I think it's like, instead of trying to be commanding this time and falling short, he like says it so quietly. He's like, yield.
Come on. Yeah. So Owen on the floor, on the ground, shield in one hand, sort of like leaning this way, propping himself up with the hand that's got the mace in it, and just kind of weighing his options, and sees him say that, and just kind of looks up and straightens himself out a little bit and just tosses his mace just a few feet like toward you, like onto the ground. and says, "I yield."
I think Thomas stumbles forward and like tries to help you to your feet. Like he knows maybe this part a little bit better, like how to treat people honorably than how to fight. And he's so relieved that he didn't kill someone today. He thought he would have been fine with it, but once it neared that approach, I think he knew it would be rough. So yeah, he reaches out a hand to try to help you to your feet if you take it.
Yeah. I stand up. I don't know the wording, but he would give him a begrudging congratulations. You really gave me a run for my money, or whatever colloquialism would fit that.
Yeah. And Thomas is much more like stiffly formal, like, "You fought well, sir." And maybe they're like, yeah, he like goes to walk off with you. So the final step here is to discuss the effects of the duel. Who will rule Buckthorn? Who gained renown? Who is impressed? And who will seek revenge? Are some possible questions to consider.
Okay, the effects of the duel. So Lady Saren lost, which is not a great situation. Do you think, well, before we discuss the overarching thing, do you think that Lady Saren will keep Owen kind of like on,
I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea that she would anyway, right? That she expected a lot more people to step up for her than did. And I think we said that she's got this kind of corrupt hierarchy, like maybe her guard and tax reavers are not on her side anyway.
Okay.
I think she maybe it does come to like trust Owen a little bit, and maybe like appreciates his desperation, right? Like maybe a little more than she should. She knows that she can offer him something he needs. So yeah, I think she does.
All right, cool.
Despite the failure. So it maybe won't mean as much money for Owen. She doesn't have as much to offer, but he'll have a roof.
Yeah, that's kind of what he wants. And like the option to go bash heads instead of like needing to do it. I want to say that Thomas gets his knighthood, but I don't know. That might just be sort of wishful thinking.
What do you think Lygadin gives him? So Lygadin gets the town of Buckthorn. This duel is won. How do you think he manages that? What do you think he does for Thomas?
I don't know, because he's still kind of a huge asshole.
Established. Yeah. Agree with that.
Let's see, he's just taken Lady Saren's lands right from under her. I think he gives him, I don't think he knights him, but I think that he gives him some kind of position.
What if he is like the sworn sword, not knighted, but the sworn sword of Rodri Lygadin? Like he's going to be guarding Lygadin's son. So he's in the household. He's got some access to honor and power, but as a little bit of a power play, Lygadin doesn't knight him yet, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to need, like, oh, I'll do it. But he's going to try to keep stringing Thomas along a little bit for
that works.
Games. Cool.
Yeah, because it's like it's maybe like some of the perks of being a knight, but also like a little bit cooler, bit cooler than being a knight.
And a step up still from being Sir Law's squire, right? Like Sir Law was a knight of renown, but Rodri Lygadin is a heir to a province. Yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
Okay.
Another Game of Thrones connection I'm thinking of, Thomas now is being in a position like the Hound, or right, where he's like attached to this really influential house, but without some of the trappings of knighthood. Oh, except a like young, optimistic knight fighter instead of a old cynical one.
Right. Yep.
Um,
and Rodri's kind of like the preppy sort of like, kind of wants to be kind of tough, but like is just not there yet.
yeah.
And he's just connected and yeah. Okay.
How do you think Owen feels about Thomas now? Is he like sore about it? Is he, if they run into each other, they would run into each other at court at some point if Saren's still a like vassal in name only to Lygadin. How do you think their dealings are down the road?
He's more survival minded, I think. So I think that he understands that a duel it's like a game. You're gonna get bloody, but like, it's a game, and you win and lose, games. And if it was the battlefield, he probably would have done everything that he could to take him out. But I think he respects him. I think that he's like, like he saw like the fire in his eyes, and he just needed that first. I mean, I didn't even really hurt you that bad, right? Like I just kind of like just bounced a mace off your ribs, and that was it.
Yeah, you hit him for 2. That was another decent hit, and he might have surrendered. It's hard to you didn't mess him up as bad, but
I feel like he
thought about it.
I think Owen's like, okay, this little bastard got lucky. He really got lucky that it didn't like crush his skull. But he did it, and he didn't back down.
Yeah.
So so I think he respects him, and I think that like going down the road. Yeah, I mean, I think Owen is grateful and thankful that Lady Saren is keeping him on, but he's not like having like any kind of change of his of his true nature. He's just like, I'm here because they're keeping a roof over my head, and they're giving me stuff to do. So I think when he does see Thomas, it's kind of like a curmudgeonly sort of respect, and maybe some good-natured like ribbing. Maybe and if they get close, maybe like the fake like he's gonna like punch him like a flinch move.
I pictured the exact same thing. He does have a little bit to prove, right? He's got he doesn't totally want to have been bested, but that seems a little friendlier. This is like they're on rival sports teams or something rather than sworn nemesis.
And it's like a game, like, it's like I lost that game. I know I'm a better fighter, but like I just lost. I lost that game, and this kid won. So what am I gonna do? I was actually thinking like when he helped me up off of the ground, I was thinking about doing like a fake, like a fake, like he's gonna keep going, but yeah, I thought that would have been kind of tacky, so go for that. Yeah,
he restrained himself. Cool.
Yeah,
I feel like that's it. That's a duel at Buckthorn.
Well, did we do the rest of them? Like who will rule Buckthorn? Oh, we determined that Lygadin, right?
Lygadin took it. I think maybe Owen gained some renown, right? He's going to be taken into Lady Saren's house.
Right.
Who was impressed? Maybe Owen. Owen impressed, surprised by Thomas. And I think nobody's going to seek revenge. I think we found a solution. It was resolved. I think Saren's going to take her reduced state. Lygadin's going to go deal with his other petty ambitions, and the world will keep turning.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, thanks for playing, Eric. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad to have gotten to play it. Now I can sort of revise some of the things in the visual design. based on, you actually using a printout and stuff.
Yeah, it does help a lot working through the procedures. All right, there we go.